Listen, these volumes aren't being outrageous today. That looks better, doesn't it?
I'd say so.
I think that's better.
I think you're good.
We're sorry for the very poor audio quality last week. Um, it's the holidays, so have grace with us for our mistakes. Well, we got movies down.
Done.
Movies are over. It's time for albums.
Let's do it.
Albums of the year. I know there's a few still coming out.
Yeah.
That may not make our list, but may later. Probably not. I don't think the Kanye record's looking all that good based on vultures.
It's pretty bad.
Um,
Why did Rudy Gobert catch strays?
yeah. Anyways, we got some albums to talk about, man.
Yeah. There were a lot of albums that came out this year.
Yeah, I feel like, our movies were pretty similar because we went to a lot of movies together this year that we wanted to talk about. This one might be a lot different. I'm hopeful it will be.
Yeah.
I feel like we'll have some overlap, but
a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely think 2 out of the 3 of our top 3 will be different. Okay. I think we might have one similar.
Okay. I forgot to write down my honorable mentions, so I'll pull those up real quick.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go first again, or do you want to start us with albums?
Either or.
Well, sure. I'll start.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. I'll start us off with a couple honorable mentions. Well, I guess first let me say what went into my criteria for what I picked out this year. And then you can do the same, and then we can jump into our lists. For me, I feel like with my year-end list, it's not just based sheerly on like overall album quality. Like there's a lot of albums that I listen to and enjoy a lot that aren't like the best quality per se.
Yeah.
But they just have a ton of replay value for me, and so I come back to them a lot. Those albums are kind of in my list a little bit. Likewise, there's some albums that I may not have come back to all that much, but I recognize as great albums from the year that are in the list. Like that was where Mr. Morale fell for me by Kendrick Lamar last year. Like didn't come back to it all that much, but still recognize the quality, and so that makes the list. Right. And then as we get kind of closer to the top, it's more and more a blend of the two. So like an album that I feel like has really good quality that I also came back to a lot. And so kind of at the bottom of the list, there may be albums that aren't the best quality, but have a lot of replay value for me, or good quality, but I didn't come back to all that much.
Right.
How about for you?
So for me, a good album is one that I want to listen to at any moment.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why an album like Beer Bongs and Bentley is so high for me, just in general.
Yeah.
It's a very playable album at any point, any season, any time, any event, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So that does for me play a big part is the replay value. Another one is production. Because I like different kinds of productions. It could go all the way from something as phenomenally built as Travis or Kanye, or it could be something very simple or like acoustic like the Kid Laroi, or even country like Morgan Wallen. Like, so as long as it feels very fitting to like the lyrics and the actual song, like I feel like production is a very big part of that, and so I take that into very high consideration. Lyrics, I try not to really have that in my critiquing area at all, just because I am one that loves lyrical rap. Yeah. So I try to just stay away from lyrics altogether. Like
otherwise the top 10 would be like all the same kind of stuff.
Like somehow Logic's album would have made my top 10. Yeah. So but so I try to stay away from lyrics. Like I'll still pay attention here and there, like, okay, these are good lines, that'll help the case, but I'm not going to be like, okay, well, Morgan Wallen, you're not spitting. Yeah. You're not in. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think the two biggest for me are how much replay value does it hold, and then how does the production sound?
Cool. I like it. Well, let me start with a couple of honorable mentions here.
Let's hear
First with the Across the Spider-Verse soundtrack, Metro
Mm.
Boomin. While I felt like there was some duds on the album for sure, like that I didn't come back to all that much, it was probably my favorite soundtrack this year, just in terms of not necessarily the score, but like in original music for a movie.
Right.
Really enjoyed that one. I had a lot of replay value for it early on in the year, but as the year kind of progressed, more and more of the songs fell out. And so it's not in my top 10. I'll also say Tizo Touchdowns, How Do You Sleep at Night? I talked to you about this album the other day, but it's just, there's so much fun in there.
Right.
Like the quality isn't there throughout it for me. There's a lot of songs that are pretty forgettable that I think are maybe a little bit annoying at times, but there's also a ton of songs that I just think are a lot of fun. I really enjoy listening to them driving around or that kind of stuff. So
Right.
I'll shout that one out. And then the last one is Måneskin's Rush. Honorable mention for me. I can tell you're flabbergasted, a little shocked by that one, but
That's crazy.
Early in the year, this one was a lot of fun for me. Came back to a good majority of the songs, like really often. Had it very highly rated early on in the year. As the year went on, like the quality just wasn't there as much for me, and like the kind of fun, unique sound that they had just kind of like didn't hold a whole lot of replay value. But because it was such a like staple early on in my rotation for the year, I wanted to shout it out.
Valid.
So I'll start with number 10 now. Post Malone's Austin album. This was one of the ones I was kind of referring to where it may not have the most quality on there. Like, you know, I will definitely say it's not his best in his discography.
Yeah.
There's not really all that's so original or groundbreaking from it. And I won't say it's cheaply made, but it's like, you know, you can tell that the heart and soul that went into 12 Karat Toothache or the production time that went into Hollywood's Bleeding or Beer Bongs and Bentleys just wasn't there as much with this one, but it was so fun to come back to, especially at the end of the summer when it came out. Had a lot of replay value for me. There's a lot of songs that I still come back to. So that one is at 10 for me. And I'll go to my 9th album, which is, this is a surprise. It's Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. But it is a surprise one. For All the Dogs by Drake.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. I actually came back to this album way more than I thought I would. Like,
interesting.
When it came out, I was like, there's some decent stuff. Not really for me. I end up coming back to like maybe half the album on like a week-to-week basis, just listening through it. There's for sure a lot of duds that I don't think are the best Drake songs, which is why it's so low. I could do without like half of it. But, you know, all in all, I think there's a lot of replay value in it. I have a lot of fun with it. I'd say it's probably the best Drake project in quite a while. So for me, that one's at 9. And I'll do my 8th one now, and it's Paramore's This Is Why record. So a little bit different than kind of maybe the rest of what I have in my list here. When it first came out, I wasn't really all that big of a fan of the album. But as time went on, I kind of found myself coming back to a lot more songs, really appreciating the vocals a lot more. I think the production style on it's very unique and fun for a pop punk record. Very different than like the staple mainstream Travis Barker stuff that's been going on that I also really enjoy. So kind of that originality and quality throughout it made it a really enjoyable listen for me. 7th is Tusi's Najur album. I think it's his debut studio album.
Who?
Tusi, the favorite song. We've talked about it.
Okay. I like zoned out for like half of his name, and I was like, wait, who did you just say?
Anyways, I found myself really pleasantly surprised with this album. Not really an artist I was all that familiar with. Just found it as one of the new music releases and gave it a chance. Really enjoyed his vocal style, the unique kind of differences that he brings to the table, being able to do a lot of melodic stuff, a lot of drill stuff, trap. There's just so much that's incorporated in there, like from Khalid features to Future and 21 Savage to like a lot of heartfelt moments on the album. It just feels very personal, very relatable. So I enjoyed that one a lot. Number 6, also kind of a latter end of the year surprise for me, was Lil Yachty's Let's Start Here. Came out
Wow.
super early on in the year, and when it came out, I wasn't like the biggest fan. It definitely took me some time to like open my mind to a different style from Lil Yachty. Generally not really an artist that I come back to all that much. Like I won't say I'm a Lil Yachty hater, but definitely not like a diehard of his stuff.
Right.
So hearing this experimental psych rock album that he came out with, a lot of fun for me. I've come back to a lot of songs later on in the year, especially like the last little while. As I've listened through it again a couple of times. I think the production style is just so intoxicating. It just is like puts you in this unique headspace and like really immerses you in this world that Lil Yachty's creating with the Let's Start Here album. I enjoy the hidden features on it, like that complement his new singing style that he's doing on there really well. The Bob Ross outro, I told you if we were, had an award for best outros, I'd probably put the Bob Ross outro in there. But yeah, I came back to that one quite a bit. Into my top 5 now. Number 5 is Mammoth 2 by Wolfgang Van Halen. A lot of replay value here for me. I think what he was able to do with producing all of the instruments on the songs, great vocals throughout it. The songwriting's pretty good quality, and really relatively few misses throughout the album was a big one for me. Like it's a pretty short one, but I think out of like the 12, 13 songs, there's only like 2 that I didn't really enjoy all that much. So the fact that was, so high quality was really enjoyable for me. Listen to it like in the gym a lot or just driving around. There's a lot of different stuff that I came back to from that one. 4th was definitely, I would say it's for sure the most unique album on my list. Scaring the Hose, JPEGMAFIA and Danny Brown. The first time I heard it, like I had not really been exposed to JPEGMAFIA. I heard a little bit of Danny Brown, some of his earlier like not so experimental stuff. Hearing this album, I was just like, what the heck did I just listen to?
Going on?
Why are people that I respect their opinion saying this is one of their albums of the year? And now here I am like disappointed that it didn't get a Grammy nomination because like super original, super unique. It's definitely not for everybody, but if you're open to the experimental sound, the fact that their production comes so hard with that while still having like great lyrical showcases is what really blew me away. Like when you listen through it the first time, you're just kind of taken back by the production. You're like, what the heck is going on? And then if you gain an appreciation for that and you can actually listen and like see what they're saying and the way they're spitting and the flows and the lyrics, it's like, holy crap, they're not only just like speaking nonsense, but they're like, this is actually like really impressive lyrical showcases that they're going on with here.
And they have just some of the funniest titles.
For their names. Jack Harlow Combo Man. So for sure the most, I would say, unique sounding project on here. Top 3, these albums are kind of where it gets into like, I feel like great quality. And also I came back to these throughout the duration of the year. So number 3 for me is Black's Since I Have a Lover. I really will say I enjoyed most of this album from the minute it came out. Like I just listened through it and was like, there's a lot of great quality on here. Loved hearing a new direction for his music and his sound. Still a lot of the like same aspects that make him a great artist with the melodic flows. Also lyrical witty showcases at times, but like very melodic. Draws you in with a lot of deep production moments. But then I love how he incorporated a lot of more light sounding acoustics and that kind of stuff to differ stylistically from what he used to do or what I'm familiar with him doing. Loved him, just like hearing a maturing album from him, growing up, doing something unique and different than what he's done, while also just providing a ton of replay value. So the fact that I was able to come back to it so much, still come back to a lot of it, even at this point in the year, is what made it one of my top 3. Super happy that it's Grammy nominated, by the way. Like,
I didn't know it was.
Yeah, it's for one of the R&B categories. Definitely the way it was being talked about throughout the year, or the lack thereof, I was like, it's probably going to miss out, which I'm disappointed in. So I'm super happy that it got nominated, get a little respect. Number 2, pleasant surprise. I was worried I'd be so let down by it. Travis Scott's Utopia. While there's for sure songs that I don't love on this, still don't love, never loved. Meltdown's the most overrated song I've heard this year. Well, one of the most overrated songs I've heard this year. There's a ton of just bright spots on this album. Some of Travis Scott's best rapping performances in his discography for me.
Yeah.
The features really hit a lot of the time. Production style is very cool, very unique, very clean, very professional. Just a ton of songs that I've come back to, like, since this album came out till now. For sure deserving of all the love that it's getting from the hip hop community.
Right.
Definitely one of the better projects to come out this year. And while I don't feel like it's Travis's best project, I feel like it deserves all the respect that it's getting.
Absolutely.
So came back to that one a ton. And number one, a lot of people are going to be upset.
I'm not surprised.
A lot of people, you know, if you're seeing it on social media, are going to be upset by this pick, but that's okay. It's my top 10. I love this album.
Yep.
I feel like the quality's there. I feel like the numbers speak for it. It's Morgan Wallen's One Thing at a Time.
It's not Doja Cat.
No, Scarlet it was tough to decide between this and Doja Cat's Scarlet album, but it's ultimately going to go to Morgan Wallen for my number one. And you know, you can call me basic, you can hate it all you want, but so many songs that I came back to just from start to finish of the year, like really only one or two songs out of the 36 that I didn't care for personally. I hear the noise about it for sure. I also would have appreciated if it was a two-parter or two separate albums that would have come out at different times, let you digest it a little bit.
Even like deluxe, you know.
Right, 100%. But like, just from when it came out early in the year, it was just a staple in my rotation. It was so playable, like you're saying, like on any drive or road trips or anything that was going on.
Yeah.
It was just always like something that I was enjoying playing. A lot of the songwriting maturity, I feel like, that he showed from a lot of problems that he had over the last little while.
Yeah.
It was super cool to hear him kind of address those and recognize like the importance of needing to, you know, grow up in a lot of ways. Just tackling a lot of cool topics. There's a lot of diversity on it. Obviously, on a big 2.5 hour project, you have to have that. Otherwise, it's going to lose me. And even still, like there are moments where it gets a little long, but really an album that I just loved from when it came out and was really surprised about. I like, genuinely, I'll say he put out more good singles, I feel like, before this album even dropped. I think he had like 9 singles out of them. And that's more than like I get out of most albums when they come out. So the fact that it was that, and then like even looking back, I really wanted to make sure that as an album experience, this was my best. And so I compared it to Utopia, my number 2, and even ratio wise on a shorter album with Utopia, I still got a better ratio of songs, like more out of the total that I enjoyed off of Morgan Wallen. So that's my top 10.
Yeah, that's a pretty good top 10, and I'm excited because we're very different.
Good.
We have a lot of differences
for sure.
So how many did you do? 3 honorables?
I had 3 honorable mentions.
All right, I'll throw in 3.
Respect.
So, my number 1 honorable mention is Mammoth 2.
Okay.
That it's just not my style of music.
Yeah,
I respect it a lot. It was a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Another Celebration at the End of the World, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
My favorite song by far.
For sure.
Great workout song. Just it just wasn't
your style.
Yeah.
But 100%.
I respect it. There's a lot of albums that I could be choosing for my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what's gonna get me roasted, but also not too roasted.
Throw in as many as you want, man.
It could be the end of me. I'll throw in Dreamville's Creed 3 soundtrack.
Okay.
There was a lot of music that was like in between genres. There'd be like this R&B and hip hop track, and like there's a lot of that, but just a lot of stylistic choices that I haven't heard of in songs. One of them being what is it called? Shadows. Is that the one that I was saying I really like? Yeah. Still one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
And I forgot that song existed until I literally just said it now. But it's a beautiful song, one that I'm not used to. But there's just better choices,
for sure,
better soundtracks, even in movies this year. So for that reason. And a third one, I'm gonna put Lil Yachty's Let's Start Here.
Okay. Yeah.
It was interesting.
I was surprised you, like, when I showed this album to you, I was surprised you didn't just flame it.
Yeah, no, like I remember the first time you told me to listen to it, I was at work and I was like, okay, like whatever. And then every once in a while when we're driving around, like it'd be playing. I'm like, okay, this is low-key like really soothing. Like this is kind of like
for
really
sure,
nice.
for sure.
So I ended up liking it a lot more than I would have thought.
Cool.
So my number 10 is gonna be, we're starting off strong here, is It's the End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day, 30 Seconds to Mars.
Wow.
I had so much fun with this. I didn't know it was Jared Leto. But the vocals were great. I loved the production, and it doesn't have a whole lot of replay value for me, and that's why I put it so low.
Yeah.
But it was one of the most enjoyable albums I've ever listened to.
Wow.
Like first like impression was, man, this is fun. Like I'm enjoying the sound.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Crazy.
It didn't end up staying that way, but just like the effect it had on me, like right out of the gate,
for sure,
I was like, okay, this is cool.
Crazy.
So that's number 10.
Yeah.
Number 9.
Oh man.
You're gonna disagree with me. We've had this discussion, but I'm doing Unhealthy by Anne Marie.
Wow. Okay. I was surprised to see if it would stay.
Yeah. So Tori ended up leaving.
Okay. The Tori Kelly project.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still love it. I still listen to it every once in a while. But Unhealthy, it's another one of just like those fun albums. Like I sing along to it. Does it have a whole lot of depth for me? No.
Yeah.
It's like it's the more pop version of Guts from Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Like same topics, same stuff like that.
Yeah.
But she's more popish.
Yeah.
Than what Olivia Rodrigo ended up.
Little less punk, little less alternative. It's for sure more like art pop style.
And it's there are way more songs that are a lot more catchy.
Yeah.
So I like that one too. Plus, there's some production on some of these songs where I'm like, that's pretty nice. Like there's a song called Grudge. Yeah, that's a great production's amazing. Cool. I love it. So Anne Marie is number 9. One I didn't think was gonna stay in my top 10, but I didn't really like anything else, but NF's Hope.
Okay.
For me, it's probably because I just like NF a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how we've talked about Post Malone. Like you're not really going to love this album unless you really love the dude.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about NF's Hope.
For sure.
There are some great songs such as Careful with Corday.
Yeah.
I love the intro. I think it is Hope. That's the first song.
Mm-hmm.
I love it a lot. I understand why people don't enjoy this album.
Sure.
I'm very aware, but I enjoy it somewhat a lot.
Yeah.
I thought a lot of it was cool.
So, definitely.
Plus, it's cool to see him out of the state that he's been in his entire life.
I'll agree with that 100%.
So, good for him. What am I at? 7? 10, 8, 9, 8. Yeah, 7. Number 7 is going to be Metro Boomin's Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I got one of my favorite songs of all time. Self-Love.
I'm astonished how that's a thing, but it's your list, man. It's
so good. But the way it was implemented within the movie and like how it ties together, I thought was a great visual aspect. That might be why it kind of made its way a little higher on the list.
Sure.
I also feel like it's easier to do that when it's an animated movie, unlike, at least in my opinion, instead of like Creed 3. I know a lot of people would probably have that switched, but I don't know. Yeah. I liked it. Yeah, that's it.
Fair enough.
So I forgot where I'm at. I think number 6. Number 6 is where I have Morgan Wallen, One Thing at a Time.
Okay.
Unlike you, I thought it was too long. And I'm just not.
Yeah.
I like country, but like to a certain amount. Yeah. I'm not huge on country.
Once it's 2.5 hours, it's a little much.
It's like, why am I listening to a movie? But like, yeah. So it was cool. I appreciated a lot of the songs. I accidentally found out that my favorite song is accidentally the biggest streaming song of the year.
Last night.
Oh, that's so good. Last night we let the anyway. Solid album. Yeah.
I think it's crazy just in like how long we've been friends. I don't know that I ever would have predicted like any country album to be in your
Yeah,
top 10,
honestly,
which is cool.
like I feel like I've grown a lot, and it's probably your fault, but I'm not gonna say it is because that's giving you credit for stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I probably would have only found like the newest hip hop albums, like
right,
and that's really it. Like it'd probably be half rap and then half pop, and
it would have been
call it a day.
like you said, Logic number 1, NF number 2,
yeah, like
Nas is number 3 or something
for no reason too. And it really would be an outlandish list.
Yeah.
Too. It wouldn't be reasonable. Like, why is Nas third on that list? But yeah, we're growing. At number 5, this is another one where I'm like kind of surprised that it stayed.
Yeah.
Especially as high as it is. But it's another one like NF. It is Post Malone's Austin.
Okay.
The replay value definitely isn't as much as his other projects, but the ones that I really enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
I like the amount of guitar he uses throughout the album.
Right.
A lot of it has to do acoustically. I like it's kind of like another one of his healing phases. Like he's still trying to figure things out, and he's finally getting on that good side.
Yeah.
Because he has a daughter now.
Yeah.
Right? He has a daughter now, and he's a lot of these songs are talking about like, okay, now I'm seeing everything differently because of you, because of my daughter.
Sure.
Which is a beautiful thing. He looks so happy to be like a dad and just like just happier in general.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing. And there's just some songs that I really, really enjoyed. One of those being Morning.
Yeah.
It will probably be in my song top 10. We'll
see.
Don't know yet.
Yeah. We'll see next week.
Yeah, literally. So that's number 5. Number 4, just off of the first interaction I had with this album and nothing else, because I haven't listened to it since, which is nuts. But that is JPEGMAFIA's Scaring All the Hoes.
Yeah.
It's just really random. It's one that I need to listen to again, and the fact that I didn't listen to this one before doing this again is unacceptable of me. But I don't even have much to say about this album. Why it's my number 4, couldn't really tell you.
It just is.
It literally just is.
Yeah. You either get it or you don't.
Exactly. Now, our number 2 and 3 are close. My number 3 is Utopia.
Okay.
It was great. I can officially say I'm enjoying Travis Scott these days.
Crazy.
It really is crazy.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand that man at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But his production was beautiful all the way around. This is one that I can talk about like lyrically. Lyrically, it was pretty solid.
For sure for a Travis album. Like it was surprising in that.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, features. Decent, but for the features that I did like, they were solid. Just the overall sound of the album was beautiful. I like some of the storytelling concepts. That intro will forever scare me. That's terrifying. But yeah, it was surprisingly an amazing album for me.
Super good.
My number 2 is Black's Since I Have a Lover.
Nice.
Another genre that subgenre. It's like more on the R&B side
for sure.
But one that I don't really listen to. But it's an album that I've downloaded a lot of songs off, and where I haven't skipped. Like I've probably skipped a Black song from this album maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the entire year.
Wow.
Yeah, like it just puts me in such a good mood. It's like super soothing. Very calming.
Yeah.
I really enjoy listening to like what he has to say.
Yeah.
There are still like quite a few bars in it where like you actually think about it and you're like, oh my gosh, that's actually a bar.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. It's I don't have much experience with Black, but the ones that I have heard from him are nothing like this one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very different.
Like but so that's it makes it even cooler. My number 1 is Maneskin's Rush.
Yeah, I was expecting it. Yeah.
I was trying to see, like, I started thinking, okay, like, am I just being stubborn, or like, why is this my favorite?
Yeah.
And the songs are just so fun. Yeah. I don't skip those ones hardly ever. They put me in a good mood. I jam out to these songs.
Yeah.
Even songs like The Loneliest, like, not like energetic, not this upbeat song. It's super sad.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's so beautiful. Like, for me, these are very unique vocals. It's rock, which for me is like, why isn't Mammoth in this list?
No,
but this one, I don't know.
It's for sure a little different.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's just, I look at the top 3 of my list and I'm like, what would I rather listen to? And I'd rather listen to Rush's album than these other 2 by like a long shot.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it gives me the same vibes as Beer Bongs and Bentleys.
Okay.
For me, I can play any of these songs almost anytime.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
For sure.
It was a great album. I bought the vinyl and they pranked me very hardcore.
Yeah.
So that's
another if you know, you know.
That was just ridiculous. I was so mad. Yeah, so that's my top 10 list.
Cool. Very cool. I feel like 2 things. Like, it's crazy to me to hear your top 3, and like, just in knowing you, like, if like our listeners may just like, you know, like, not know you at all and like assume like, okay, like that's a pretty, you know, like understandable top 3, or maybe they have their own gripes with it or whatever. But like, in knowing you, it's very, very different than what I know you like, which is it's cool to see, like, you know, for both of us, I think a lot of new and unique sounds making their way into our lists. I also was just thinking, like, a lot of hardcore but very basic music fan people are probably going to be very upset at both of our ones. Like, just the amount of hate that I know Morgan Wallen's albums got from, like, you know, the music reviewing community, as well as like Maneskin's album. Like, I've just heard both of these albums get torched by so many people, which is hilarious because, you know, it doesn't matter. It's our list and we enjoy what we enjoy. So, but anyways, some solid picks all the way around. I feel like there was a lot more overlap than I expected and a lot more diversity than I expected.
Yeah, there was
confusing, but
between the both of us, the diversity was actually kind of crazy.
Yeah,
because I think we only had like 3 albums that were on both of our lists. Yeah,
definitely only a few. I'm really surprised the Lil Yachty album made even a mention for you, because I like it's very unique, very different than I feel like what you listen to, very different than what Yachty usually puts out.
You really put me on this like experimental crap. Like, honestly, it first started with Chance, and then it was Gambino, and then I mean, here we are with Lil Yachty. Like, I'm not surprised, but I am like, okay, why am I liking this music all of a sudden?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, we talk all the time about how many bars, like Bob Ross may have just dropped like the best bars on an album this
man
year.
Doesn't get a Grammy immediately.
Crazy. Well, I think like that. I mean, we're gonna cover songs next week, so I don't feel like I want to talk too much more music as we're getting out here. But I guess for anybody watching on YouTube or listening, drop us a comment for what albums we missed. What your favorite albums of the year might be. You can, if you're watching on YouTube or on social media, you can flame us for any of our albums, because, you know, as we've learned, people are just ready to be up in arms for no good reason about everything. So
and then realize, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe it's me.
Yeah.
Classic. Somehow Taylor Swift fans are going to find a way to be offended by this. I don't know how. They're going to do it.
It's because we started talking about Olivia.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Olivia Rodrigo might make songs of the year for me.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I enjoy that song a lot, though. That Hunger Games song is really good. It's really good. That's not even like on some sarcasm. Like, you know, I've been
really
jamming.
like that song. That's not going to make your top 10?
Probably not.
Wow.
Probably not.
That's surprising.
Yeah. If I was making like a best songs of November, it would.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah. So we'll see what we got next week. Still a lot of fun stuff coming up the next couple weeks. Christmas special will be coming out in a little bit, and then of course our awards show coming together nicely. I'm super excited for that one. So.
Yeah, it's being worked on.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
It'll be cool.
Until next time.
Bon voyage.
Cheers.